Well, welcome to an emergency episode of the 24th Floor. We're not going to be long here, but I think we know why I'm here today. Memphis 901 FC has transferred its rights to Santa Barbara. So not selling the team, but transferring the rights. That means that no more professional soccer in the Bluff City. So to kind of give a little bit of background for, why I'm here, Avery and Rachel both feel strongly about it too. I'm kind of the soccer guy. Soccer's my favorite sport. I love all sports, obviously, but soccer holds a special place in my heart for many years now. And so when I first started doing journalism in Memphis, I was the play-by-play guy for Memphis City Football Club. The OGs know what that means, back playing at Christian Brothers High School. So I've been involved with this team for a while. I've covered the team since its start in 2019. You look back, the sellout crowds in 2019. We even had Ja with the guitar smash. The history has been short, but it's been rich. And it's very, very sad to see this happen because, while the attendance dropped, they were, I believe, third to last in attendance for this season, and it was the same last season. That's just kind of how things go. And 901 FC hired people to try to engage the city more, but at the same time, this city has a soccer following, but it seemed to not really grasp Memphis 901 FC. And so that's not why they're gone. At the same time, Memphis, there could be a soccer club that comes to Memphis. We don't know. That's what I assume this ownership group wants, but the rights are different than selling the team, right? So now Santa Barbara owns all of the rights along with everything that goes with Memphis. So that doesn't mean that there's not going to be a professional soccer club in Memphis anymore. Now there's not, but there could be something. This ownership group, you're talking about Craig Unger being the president and owner and Peter Frund being the principal owner. They could try to do something because there is, like I said, a soccer following in Memphis. But for right now, we're not going to have anything anymore. And the players who re-signed, they're going to have a chance to go play in beautiful Santa Barbara. It's from what I heard, half the players re-signed. Head coach Stephen Glass re-signed as well. He was going to be here for a couple more years. This came out of nowhere. It really did. And it's hard for me to talk about it in a way because, like I said, it holds a special place in my heart, and it's just so surprising. I did I'm not going to say I predicted it, but at the end of the season, I was talking to Avery and Rachel, and we were talking about who's going to re-sign this and that. And I said, this might have been the last year of Memphis 901 FC soccer. So for people that don't understand, are saying, well, why would they leave? They still had fans going to the games. They were top 5 in viewership. We're talking about people watching the games on ESPN+. So why did they leave? Well, the president of USL wanted to, earlier this year, he came out and he said, and this has kind of been a thing, but he reiterated it earlier this year. He said that they want the USL clubs to have a soccer-specific stadium, a stadium that is used for soccer. Yeah, in the city of Memphis, of course, we're going to use it for concert events and everything. But in Memphis, we wanted to have that, and that was going to happen in Liberty Park with tearing down the Coliseum possibly. And when the state of Tennessee decided that they were going to allocate money, obviously that was a $2.1 billion to create a dome stadium for the Titans. Some of that money was going to come to Memphis, and what that number looked like was $350 million. And so when that happened, that's when you saw that plan really come into place. Memphis 901 FC got excited about that. They saw that as an opportunity, obviously, because our ownership does not have that money. Tim Howard has left. He's gone now. That's the person with the most money in that ownership group. It's not there anymore. So no one had that much money to build, like, let's say, a $200 million facility, or even less than that. That wasn't feasible. So they saw that as an option. Let's get a piece of that pie. And that went to the Grizzlies and to the Tigers, went to the Liberty Bowl and to the FedEx Forum. And that's why you see those renovations at FedEx Forum and at the Liberty Bowl, Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. So 901 FC felt hard-pressed by that, and they've been pretty adamant about, we should have gotten a piece of that pie. People on social media today kind of attacking the Grizzlies, but you have to understand that it's all business. The Grizzlies are making money. 901 FC is not making that money. And so that's why they didn't get the money. At the same time, the state allocated this money the city allocated $5 million to the Redbirds. Now that's key because I said Redbirds. I didn't say the Redbirds group, right? So who also own 901FC. So that money was not going to go towards it was going to go towards improving AutoZone Park, but it wasn't going to go towards helping 901FC. So it's sad. It really is. I mean, that $5 million, you think that maybe they could have allocated some of that to 901FC, but instead it's all going to go towards making the Redbirds, I believe they said, and pull up my notes, but just making AutoZone Park facility get up to the standards of the MLB. So I want to pull up, I've talked a lot. I think I've covered everything that needs to be covered with this, but I want to pull up this full screen and talk about the statement from Memphis 901FC today. We collectively share the disappointment of our supporters and the Memphis community as Memphis 901FC's franchise rights transition to Santa Barbara, California. So many people have poured their hearts and souls into building this club, including soccer legend Tim Howard, and to everyone who helped build this organization, we will be forever grateful. The supporters of Memphis 901FC have been incredible. You look back to 2019, Bluff City Mafia being that main fan group. In Europe, they call them ultras, you know, the crazy fans, the fans that are going to shoot off the flares, wave the flags, play the drums. Bluff City Mafia was that. And you really saw that there was a place for soccer in Memphis, and there still is. And Bluff City Mafia was really that main factor there. They're always at the games. Yeah, Bluff City Mafia doesn't have as many people as they used to, but it's still a great fan group. So we got a chance to talk to one of the heads of Bluff City Mafia today, Ian Johnson, and get his initial reaction for what happened. Take a listen.
Yeah, it was rough. It was more surprise than anything else. There had been rumblings that, we were always worried about not, having a team, but after talked to one member of the media on Saturday, and he was saying that, half the team had re-signed. We had just talked to Coach Glass. He had just gotten an extension. We met with the front office just over a month ago, and, we were ready to roll forward with a 2025 season. So, there was no, this is really out of the blue. So really just more shocked, hurt. We wish this news had come from the team itself or from the front office instead of rumors on social media, but, that's how things work nowadays. So the initial reaction has just been shock and hurt and just trying to, figure out where do we go from here.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what everyone's feeling today, just that shock and that pain. And I think that it brings up a bigger topic, which is soccer in the United States as a whole. The USL is trying to compete with the MLS. There's a misconception that those two go hand in hand. And if that was the case, then you would see some of that trickle-down money from the USL, which is what they do in Europe, is there's trickle-down payments that go from the British Premier League down to the Championship, which is the second division, all the way down to the fourth tier. So we don't have that in the U.S., so that's why you see a lot of these teams. You saw it with San Diego last year. There's just not a lot of stability here. Now, Memphis 901FC, seems like they were always hanging on by a thread. They did a really, really good job in creating rosters with a little bit of money that really competed, making 4 playoffs in a row. And then you look at 2 years ago, making that deep run into the playoffs and really looking like they could make an impact. And a lot of people say, well, they crashed out in the first round for the first 2 rounds, the last 2 years. Is that maybe it's a performance issue here? It's not have anything to do with that at all. There's not going to be a soccer-specific stadium in Memphis. The attendance is low. Memphis isn't making money for the USL, so bottom line, that's what it is. And the last thing I'm going to say is the writing has been on the wall since the beginning of the year. Principal owner Peter Frund sold his rights, sold his shares in Dagenham and Redbridge, which is a team in the lower divisions. It's not part of the British FA, but it is a soccer club in England. He sold those shares in that team earlier this year in January or February. And that's when I first identified, okay, he's selling those. Now, if you talk to him, if he's sitting next to me, he may say, no, that has nothing to do with it. But I still think the writing was on the wall, and it just led eventually to this. Maybe those 2 owners are trying to get out. We don't really know. But at the same time, like I said at the very beginning, there's still a place for soccer in Memphis. I truly believe that. There are fans here. Maybe the next team, hopefully, that comes through needs to do a little bit better about reaching out to the communities, getting different types of people to the game, getting different types of people more engaged with soccer in Memphis. Because make no mistake about it, soccer is the fastest growing sport in the U.S. We've seen it being popularized all over the place. Just down the road in Nashville, you look at what Nashville did. Nashville had a USL, the third division team. They created a USL team. And then they got the money, and now you look at Nashville. Nashville's one of the better teams in the MLS. And so you kind of have that little brother, big brother dynamic continuing with Memphis and Nashville. But Memphis could easily do what Nashville did. It just will take money. And it takes someone coming in here and saying, hey, I believe in soccer in Memphis, and I want it to succeed. I want to get in it, and I want to be a part of this next MLS expansion after this next expansion that the MLS is going to do. So we're looking like at 8-10 years before that's even a conversation. But it's all doom and gloom today, but it shouldn't be, because there could be a team that eventually comes to Memphis. But sad day. I loved 901 FC. I loved going and covering the games. Stephen Glass and his players are absolutely top-notch. I hope the best for them. So that's all I have to say on this emergency episode of 24th Floor, and we will have a full episode covering everything. I know we'll see what's going to happen with Grizzlies and the Lakers tonight. We'll cover everything, including what Penny Hardaway had to say earlier today with Memphis basketball. We'll have that and more tomorrow on the next episode of 24th Floor.